Last episode was a disaster. We took over at Liverpool, fell out with our star player, got rejected by another, lost our first two games of the season, failing to find the back of the net once. But with £100 million still left to spend, something needs to be done to change the direction of travel here at Liverpool. But before we can get down to business, worried about the club's poor start to the season, I'm paid a visit by someone very important. It's Mr. John Henry here. I've no words to describe your performance thus far, but I'm not going to behave like some club owners where they sack a manager in a couple of matches. Let's be constructive and work this out. I'm here to solve our problem together. Now, I've spoken to Mo Salah and there's no convincing him about an extension. However, he wants to give his all and leave on a free. Van Dijk, on the other hand, would like one more year in his pocket to train up the youngsters, but he wants a deputy behind him. He feels that Konate and Kwanzaa would be great without him, but Gomez has to go at the end of the season. So do get a new centre-back to deputise under Van Dijk in January, or at the start of next season. And as for Trent Alexander-Arnold, yes, he signed an extension, but he's impalled by the direction of the club after the first two games and the manner we lost it. Yes, he wants to be a Liverpool eternal, but if results don't change by January, he wants to be made captain ahead of Van Dijk, no questions asked. If you deny that right, he wants a move at the end of the season. So get your act together, man. He wants to stay, and all you need to do is improve your results. I think that's a fair one. Okay, so some serious markers being laid down about this squad early doors. Now, after having a big fallout with Mo Salah at the very beginning of episode 1, with a 32-year-old Egyptian demanding a move away from the club and me not granting his request, he was left absolutely furious, and judging by the performances in the opening two games of the season, losing 1-0 to Ipswich and then 3-0 to Brentford, it seems like his frustration has been felt all around the squad. Now, with him only having 10 months left on his contract, I was considering cutting my losses with him and getting rid of him to try and bring in some money before he can be allowed to leave on a free in January. But with the big man John Henry having spoken and having demanded that he remains at the club at least until the end of the season to see out his Liverpool contract, it looks like we're not going to be signing up one of these new right midfielders anytime soon. Van Dijk, on the other hand, I mean, yes, he's another player who's got 10 months left on his contract, but I've got to be honest, he's not exactly wild either in the opening couple of games of the season. But with Kwanzaa showing great potential, but obviously having a long way to go in his development, Konate being a decent centre-back, but obviously not being at the same level as the Dutchman, and Joe Gomez more than likely being someone I want to move on in January, I think it makes sense to listen to the wishes of the owner of the football club and invite Virgil van Dijk into my office to try and renegotiate his contract. It's no surprise to see that he wants to see out his days as a Liverpool player, as a crucial member of the squad, and he also wants a one-year contract extension which fits perfectly into the demands of John Henry. I think a nice little salary bump will go a long way to showing Virgil that he is still valued at the club, and with him being more than happy to accept, we've got our second contract extension signed and sealed and delivered here at Liverpool Football Club. And just like Trent Alexander-Arnold at the beginning of episode 1, Virgil van Dijk extends his contract here at Liverpool Football Club that will see him continue into season 2. Now, as I said, Joe Gomez doesn't have a long-term future at the club, but with me only having 4 senior centre-backs, I obviously don't want to stick him on the transfer list just yet. However, as you'll see from my transfer shortlist, I haven't actually considered looking at any additional centre-backs so far, but it's certainly going to have to be a position that I'm going to have to look for fairly quickly. So let me know down below in the comments what you think. Who do you think could be the next Liverpool captain, and who could be the foundation of our defence and the long-term replacement for Virgil van Dijk once the big Dutchman hangs up his boots? And as for Trent Alexander-Arnold, I mean, yes, it's fair. We had an absolutely woeful start to the season that I don't think anyone was expecting, and it's certainly not the sort of start to life that I was hoping for as Liverpool manager. We're bottom of the table, having conceded 4 goals and scoring none, and with us having Manchester United up next in the Premier League, if I lose that one, I'm really going to be under the cosh. However, for me though, the biggest problem was the real lack of number 6 and central defensive midfielder to try and protect that back line. At the moment, I've got Alexis McAllister and Ryan Gravenberch both trying to do that job in a double pivot. However, having 2 players in that position I think is having a real detrimental impact on my attack, as well as the fact that neither of them have the required attributes or capabilities to properly be able to hold down that position. And so that is why, once again, I'm turning to some of the best scouts in the business to try and offer me some suggestions. Hi boss, I'm one of your scouts at Liverpool, and I've travelled across Europe searching for a new CDM, and this is what I could find. Guess he's a good central defensive midfielder, and he's looking for a move away from the Saudi League. Ismail Benassia plays for AC Milan, he's 26 and established himself as one of the best CDMs in Serie A. And Adam Wharton's a young CDM with massive potential, ready to step up and make a move to a big club. Sambo Anguissa from Napoli, a player very similar to Kessie. Anguissa offers similar attributes but at a discounted rate. Highly appreciated at Napoli, and a player this summer who stated wanting to keep as a vital cog in their rebuild. Anguissa could be tempted with the opportunity to seek pastures anew. Hakan Çalhanoğlu is another player vital to his current club's project, but also one who was rumoured with a move away. Despite stating he's happy at the club, Hakan's been linked with a move away after a great Euros, and he proved a fantastic asset asset to our midfield, as a true playmaker or as a shield to our defensive line. Leon Goretzka was once one of Europe's most formidable central players. His career has hit a slump since being considered less vital to the new Bayern Munich project. Despite Goretzka wanting to stay, a club the size of Liverpool willing to give him the game time he wants could prove too tempting, and it's no question on his day Goretzka is an incredible asset. And finally, from my scout in Portugal, Okan Koku is a great option for every position in midfield, and I'd recommend him if you need a midfielder. So that is quite the scout report from all of my top scouts, so let's dive straight into it. Now first of all, let's start off with some of the more experienced players. Hakan Çalhanoğlu, the likes of Leon Goretzka and Sambo Anguissa, all of which are good players in their own right, and of course Çalhanoğlu is arguably the best of all the suggestions, being an 86 rated. However, with me wanting a long-term option for me, I'm not sure any of these three players can offer that to me. Okan Koku would be a fantastic signing. The versatility he offers me, the fact he's only 23 and already 82 rated. However, with his stats showing that he's more of a playmaker or a winger, again, I'm not quite sure he's that number 6 holding position that I'm really looking for. So that really leaves me then with two key options, the first of which is Ismail Bennacer, the man from Milan, who clearly would be an outstanding choice, offering me that ability to hold and be a playmaker at the same time. Plus, with him being 26 years of age and having all of the attributes I'm sure to be a long-standing success in the Premier League, he could be a real steal between 30 to 50 million pounds. And the other is the 20-year-old Adam Wharton. He'd be certainly more of a risk, but having shown what sort of potential he has at Crystal Palace and clearly being a more defence-minded midfielder, he certainly would be the long-term option for me at the heart of my midfield. And at between about 20 to 30 million pound, he would be an absolute bargain. And so you know what? It's a risky decision, but I'm going to go for it. Liverpool have shown in real life, having targeted Romeo Lavia before he joined Chelsea, that they're willing to take a risk in the central defensive midfield role and try and target a young player who can be there for the long term. And so that is why I'm following that pursuit here today, as we welcome Adam Wharton for Crystal Palace for just £24.2 million. Yes, this could well be a transfer that blows up in my face, with him only joining Crystal Palace back in January 2024, but since then he's absolutely lit up the Premier League and it's done enough to earn him a spot in Gareth Southgate's Euro team in Euro 2024. And with the likes of the 20-year-old him and also the 21-year-old Tyler Morton, who's out on loan at the moment to Aston Villa, I think that central defensive midfield position is hopefully wrapped up for me now for the foreseeable future. And not only that, but his arrival finally gives me the opportunity to shake up this Liverpool system and to play a formation that I've wanted to play ever since I first joined. He can go into that holding role just in front of the defence. It allows the likes of Szoboszlai and McAllister to hopefully form a decent, more attacking partnership in the centre of the park. And hopefully with me once again changing up some of these player roles so they fit the system a little bit better and will hopefully get the best out of these players. And with Manchester United at Old Trafford up next, it's time to see if we can put these tactical tweaks to work. Adam Wharton will make his debut here in a Liverpool shirt. He takes the place of Ryan Gravenberch, who drops to the bench. As for everyone else, it's as you were as we look to try and claim our first 3 points of the season. We're kicking off here, and one thing to say, after struggling badly in the opening couple of games of the season with the new fast gameplay, I have changed it back to simulation to try and see if I can get some control back in this game, and really to try and see if I can up my own performance here. And after winning the ball back and hopefully playing some nice little football just in the own part of my half, seems like we've started off a little bit better. It's got Nacho here to bring it away for Manchester United. Trent Alexander-Arnold hasn't got the pace to keep up with him. It's floated in, but Canate with a nice little head, and of course having that central midfielder in the right place at the right time really helped there, as Adam Wharton was in the perfect spot to clear the ball. And now Szoboszlai in his rightful position to bring the ball forward into Diogo Jota, who on the edge of the box will take the strike. It's easy for Onana though in the end. Garnacho will take the throw into Bruno Fernandes in the centre of the park, nods it back down to him. Good play from United, but Trent Alexander-Arnold wins the ball back well. Good defending from the right back and gives it to that man Adam Wharton. Already I feel like I've got so much more balance in the midfield. My goodness, that's a horrendous challenge, and Dominic Szoboszlai is left in a heap on the floor. What on earth was the Manchester midfielder doing? Casemiro is only issue with a yellow card, and I think he's got away with one there, because let's check the replay out. I mean, that is a woefully timed challenge. He's a lucky boy to still be on the pitch. Dominic Szoboszlai is also a very lucky man to still be on the pitch. Fortunate not to be taken off on a stretcher somehow. He's managed to escape injury as McAllister looks to try and escape the clutches of Bruno Fernandes in the centre of the park. Plays it into Luis Diaz, who's come central. Diaz shifts it onto his right, looking to try and line it up, but Ugarte is in the right place at the right time. We can't seem to break United down so far. Out to, not quite sure what that is. Is it Memphis Depay? Memphis Depay, the former Man United man, is back in a Manchester United shirt, looking for retribution after his poor first stint. And Anthony's also looking for retribution here after his poor first season. And he almost got it, but it was a really good save in the end from Alisson, making up for the absolute howler that he conceded against Ipswich in the first game of the season. Trent into Adam Wharton. Lovely space for the Englishman to pick it up and play a short pass into Dominic Szoboszlai. He plays it out to the left-hand side to Luis Diaz as we try and see if we can foray into United's half here. Wonderful stuff to get away from one challenge, gets away from two, and this is a driving run into the penalty area for the first time this game. And now he's got no one to give it to, though, so instead checks back for Szoboszlai on his right. Just loops it over the bar, though. The problem I've got at the moment is that I've got Jota in this false nine position to try and give me a few more numbers in midfield to help out with possession, but it's really hurting me up front because I think I'm struggling every single time I get in a good position. I've not really got a player in the penalty area to take advantage. Just before I start the second half here, I'm going to try and just change up the player role. He's not going to be, he's not really a poacher. He's going to be an advanced forward. He's got the plus sign next to it. So hopefully, if I make a change here, it will hopefully benefit us in the second half. It's Anthony who's got it in the centre of the park. Gives it to Bruno Fernandes. Skips away from the challenge of Adam Wharton. The Englishman could have done better there, but Virgil van Dijk mops up the mess. Doesn't do a good enough job of bringing the ball away, though. And Adam Wharton once again is turned easily from Bruno Fernandes. But McAllister is in there with a good challenge. And McAllister plays a lovely... Oh, I was going to say it was a lovely ball through to Jota, who's finally trying to break the channel and break the lines here. And Jota wins it back in a good position. Plays it into Mo Salah, who yet again has been quiet so far in this game. The Egyptian can't quite find a way through. Tried to just dink it over to Szoboszlai. It was well defended in the end, though. And easy for Onana. Into Adam Wharton. We've got a man down here. It looks like it's Konate, who's down injured. I'm just waiting to see if it's going to be a serious one. It looks like he's up again here, and McAllister is looking to try and play this around, but it's Luis Diaz actually, who picks it up, and Luis Diaz plays it back into the path to Mo Salah, shifts it onto his left. This is when he's dangerous, but again, can't quite get the shot off, and the Egyptian struggling so far this season. A lovely ball over the top into the path of Trent Alexander-Arnold, who wins it well. It's Adam Wharton who picks it up and turns away from the challenge and gives it to Dominic Szoboszlai, skips away from Casemiro, who on a yellow with another flying challenge. Was very lucky man that Szoboszlai escaped that challenge as Jota tries to play it into Salah. He does play it into Salah, and the Egyptian finally gets the goal that we so desperately crave. We've waited, and we've waited 2 games and 70 minutes in to our massive rivalry against Manchester United, and finally the goal has come after a much better performance here in the second half. And what a finish it was from Mo Salah, right into the top left-hand corner. Keeper had no chance. I celebrate 1-0. Manchester United have it though in my half, and suddenly this game has sparked into life here as Memphis Depay looks to go past Virgil van Dijk, doesn't, but Van Dijk can't win the second ball. Bruno Fernandes, we're under the cosh a little bit here. We've just got to keep our heads over the course of the next few minutes as McAllister wins a ball back in the centre of the park. Really good defending from the Argentinian. It's Szoboszlai once again into Jota, who's come deep to collect, feeds it out to Mo Salah, who just about manages to get onto it, and this time it was a wonderful ball from Trent into Jota, and once again Mo Salah has the chance to escape down this right hand side. He hasn't got the pace just to beat the left back Udogie. He's wriggling around though, waiting for someone to get into the box. It's a wonderful ball into the path of Luis Diaz, and that is absolutely brilliant, but he's been flagged offside. Ugarte though for United into stoppage time. This is surely going to be the last attack of the game. Garnacho though is blocked off it by Kwanzaa, who's coming as a substitute for Konate, and the young centre back driving over to the right hand side as the referee blows for full time. And the Liverpool fans celebrate because at full time we finally have our first win of the season, and my word, what an opposition to do it against. Full time here, 1-0 Liverpool, and I am more than happy to take the plaudits as well, with Szoboszlai having an absolutely fabulous performance, one that I'm more than happy to celebrate. And I think just shifting the Hungarian a little bit back into the centre of the park just helped him get on the ball a little bit more and have a bit more of an influence on the game. However, with the formation change, it does look like FC 25 have got him listed as a central attacking midfielder, so I do want to change that. I've got to be honest though, struggling a little bit with the new UI. I can press R1 to change his position. So I'm going to change him into a central midfielder. Hopefully that'll stick. And I'm hoping his strong partnership with Alexis McAllister in the heart of midfield can continue for the foreseeable future. I think Adam Wharton on his debut certainly showed a great deal of potential. He had a couple of nice, decent touches and often found himself in the right place at the right time. He was beaten to the ball a couple of times, but I'm sure with a little bit more consistency and a little bit more experience, he'll be a lot better. But I certainly think it made all the difference having having him in my starting 11. And as for Mo Salah, has that goal meant that we finally put our differences aside and he's finally got his mind in the right place? His first goal of the season as for ours, and I hope this is the start of something special for the Egyptian in his final season in a Liverpool shirt. Unfortunately, that injury that I was slightly concerned about with Konate isn't as bad as I once thought. A bruised elbow means he'll be out for about 4 days, but hopefully he'll be back in time for our very next game. That win, though, lifts us off of bottom spot up to 16th now. Obviously, that's not where we want to be come the end of the season, but hopefully we can now channel this positive momentum to help lift us back up the Premier League table. And with us simming the next game against Nottingham Forest, it's back-to-back wins in the Premier League as we win 2-1. It's time, though, as you can see, to turn our attention to the new format of the Champions League as Liverpool are back in Europe's biggest cup competition. Now, I know there's a lot of criticism about the new format, but personally, I actually quite like it. I think this league format is going to be really cool, and it gives us the opportunity to play against so many different teams that we wouldn't otherwise have the chance to do so. But as you can see, it's going to be AC Milan who are going to be kicking off our Champions League campaign against. Can we continue this fine momentum that we find ourselves in? No changes to the team that beat Manchester United. There is a little bit of fatigue that is coming in with the likes of Virgil van Dijk and Adam Wharton. Let's hope that they can see out the whole 90 minutes though. As you can see, there is one major change that I have done, and that is change my camera angle. I'm not sure about anyone else, but I kind of found with the last game that I was playing there was a little bit of lag. I'm not quite sure if it was because I was so zoomed out or not. Let me know in the comments below whether or not you noticed any lag on my screen and whether or not this closer camera angle makes any difference. I'm not really used to playing this close, so let's see whether or not this has a detrimental impact on my performance. Milan, though, at the moment, pressing high, and we're being forced to play this one out from the back. We're doing a good job, though, of evading the press, but Milan are not giving it up very easily. And one thing that I am struggling with at the moment with this close-up camera angle is that I am struggling to see the whole pitch. I know I've got the radar down below, so I can see some of the players, but I'm not particularly good at FC 25, as I'm sure many of you will know, having been battered by Brentford 3-0 and beaten 1-0 by Ipswich in the opening couple of games of the season. But it looks like I've started off a little bit better at the moment as we win a free kick in a very dangerous position. And it's one that Alexander-Arnold is going to take. Looks like it's 32 metres away from goal. Perhaps it's a little bit far away for me to try and see if I can hit the target. So instead, I'm just going to try and see if I can dink this one into the penalty spot. That is absolutely horrendous. Adam Wharton wins it in the centre of the park, gives it to Alexander-Arnold, McAllister into Virgil van Dijk, and Van Dijk goes out to Robinson on the left-hand side. He plays it short into Adam Wharton, into McAllister, who's got a nice little pocket of space and dinks it over to the left-hand side, looking for the left-back Robinson, who takes it down beautifully. Lovely little chest and turn away, and he's looking to throw the ball into the box for Mohamed Salah, who can't quite get his head on it. McAllister, though, hopefully will win the second ball. He's absolutely clattered into by Loftus-Cheek, but Salah wins the ball back high, takes it on with his right. Good save from the goalkeeper. And it looks like, with that challenge, Loftus-Cheek is down with an injured knee. He can only have himself to blame, to be honest. Absolutely no blame rests on my shoulders. He totally and utterly clattered into the back of Alexis McAllister, and this is what the outcome is. Far enough for Milan to get us started once again, though. Into Mendes. Mendes looking for a ball into Rafa Leao, who of course is going to be the danger man in this game, and that's a lovely ball into Morata now, who tries to go past Konate, but the big Frenchman is one step ahead of the experienced Spaniard as Trent Alexander-Arnold skips away from the challenge from him into Mo Salah. The Egyptian gives it back into Diogo Jota. I was hoping that Trent would continue his run, he didn't, and the attack breaks down. It's Rafa Leao who picks it up with Trent Alexander-Arnold now out of position. Konate once again tries to come across and cover, doesn't win the ball back though this time. Morata is blocked off by Virgil van Dijk. Great defending from the big Dutchman. Mo Salah into Alexis McAllister, floats it across to Robertson on the left-hand side. The left-back once again takes it down nicely into Zabotzlai. We're just looking to try and break the lines here as Milan once again presses high. Diaz, though, has come short to collect, gives it into Robertson. Robertson round the corner, back into Diaz. Really nice football. I'm going to look to try and play this across to the back post. The cross was clumsy. Well, so far, despite the fantastic array of attacking talent I've got at my disposal here at Liverpool, I'm struggling to find the back of the net. I've only done once so far against Manchester United, and we're struggling once again here today, and we almost conceded there, but it was my goalkeeper Alisson who came to my rescue, and Konate with another crunching challenge to win the ball back, and we count our lucky stars that we don't go into the break 1-0 down. It's Fofana once again, right on the stroke of half-time. Rafa Leao into Morata, under the cosh here, as Alisson with a wonderful save as the referee blows his whistle finally. Well, I felt we started the opening 45 minutes better, but we certainly didn't end it. Milan really starting to get into the game. We've got to change that here at the beginning of the second as Alexis McAllister wins it back in a good position. Looks to play in Luis Diaz on the left-hand side. And frustratingly, Milan just get enough bodies back to put an end to that attack. Trent Alexander-Arnold, who's come into the centre of the park, but he's just muscled off of it there by Rafael. And of course, the Portuguese has the pace to burst down this left-hand side. Trent can't keep up with him. He's desperately, frantically trying to track back, but in the end, it's played back into Mendes. Lovely ball into the box. Pulisic with a fantastic volley straight at Alisson. But fortunately enough, we get away with one once again. And Milan really starting to turn the screw here, and we are struggling as that's a wonderful ball in, and they get the volley all wrong. Walton into McAllister. Nice space here. He's looking for Mo Salah, and Mo Salah picks it up. Looking for the run of Diogo Jota. Blocked off, though, by Fofana. Really good defending there from the central defensive midfielder. And now it's into Mendes once again. Mendes trying to get away from Trent. He does get away from Trent. Rafael gets away from Konate. He can't get away from the big man Virgil van Dijk, though, who just tries to hack that one clear. Mendes once again, though, back into Rafael. Into Morata. The goalkeeper comes out, and he stretches, and he makes himself big, and he just about gets in the way. At the moment, Alisson is keeping us in this game. Well, you know what? With about an hour on the clock, I'm going to make some changes here. I'm going to bring Salah off. I'm also going to bring Diaz off as well. I'm going to put Gakpo on up front, and I think I'm going to change the tactical setup. I'm going to try and change some of these player roles because I need a bit more width. I've got both of my wide players playing as inside forwards. Chiesa's going to go out. He's going to be a winger. I'm going to do the same for Gakpo as well. He's going to play as a winger too. I'm just going to try and see if I can put a little bit more width into my attack. McAllister, though, does a good job of winning it back, and Mo Salah, that's a lovely turn away from the defender, and the Egyptian now down this right-hand side looking for the ball in. Fofana has been absolutely everywhere today. Rafael gets it past Trent Alexander-Arnold once again into Mendes, and Mendes returns the ball back to him, and the Portuguese burst past Adam Wharton, but the Englishman comes across, does enough to block off the run into Szoboszlai. Szoboszlai bringing it forward. The ball still hasn't got out of place. I've still not been able to make those changes that I'm so desperately wanting to do. Mo Salah, though, hacked down once again. He keeps hold of the ball as the referee plays advantage. The Egyptian throws it into the box. The goalkeeper at 6s and 7s, they just about had it clear. Pulisic for Milan. 10 minutes on the clock. I still can't make the substitutions. Some of my players are running on fumes as Morata goes past Konate. Lovely ball into Pulisic. The American looks to line up a shot here. Konate, though, manages to get back in position, wins the ball back well, and now Szoboszlai can look to try and see if he can release Luis Diaz on the left-hand side. It's a lovely ball over from the Hungarian into the path of Luis Diaz. This is the chance, waiting for the cutback, finds the cutback into Jota. What a save from the goalkeeper. Rafael still has it. 87 minutes on the clock. The ball is not out of play. When is the ball going to go out? When can I make these changes? Rafael, though, surely with only a few minutes left, trying to see if he can be the one to make the changes here. Plays it in. What a save once again from Alisson. Pulisic trying to get onto the end of it. He picks up the scraps, plays it out to Benassia, my transfer target in the summer, as the referee finally blows for full time. But I think it's a case of what might have been the ball after the hour mark never went out of play, so I wasn't able to make those changes, and fortunately enough, away from home here at the San Siro, we come away with a 0-0 draw, and I think on the grand scheme of things, I will take that. It's not the best start to our Champions League campaign, but I'll certainly take a point. 10th place we sit at the moment. No goals scored, no goals conceded. But the biggest shake-up for me was the change in the camera angle. I usually play co-op, I switched to classic. It didn't feel right, I've got to be honest, but I think I'm going to stick with it. But let me know in the comments below whether or not you prefer this one or you prefer me to play with the wider lens. And I'll make that change at the beginning of episode 3 because that is going to be that for the end of today's episode. Thank you once again for your comments, your likes, your subs. I really do appreciate it. Once again, I'm aiming for 50 likes on this video. So if you could go ahead and like, it will help the algorithm no end. And of course, thank you once again. I will see you next time.